Katie and welcome to my channel. Today we've got Nigel here and
Hello.
We are at Aquarium Central here in Australia on the Sunshine Coast. Is it Sunshine Coast or Brisbane?
Sunshine Coast.
Sunshine Coast. And so I had a little bit of a look through, but not a big look through, so we're going to do that now, and Nigel's going to give us a bit of a walkthrough as well so we can check it out. Let's start walking in.
All right, let's go have a look.
But what's really cool about this place is I think you said that you've got the most range of African cichlids.
Yeah, we've got a very large range of African cichlids. We've got easily close to, well, probably over 100 varieties in there at the moment. And outside here we have our guppy wall. Well, some of our guppies, not all of our guppies, but this is where we keep our male and female pairs of guppies. So anything that we have available in male and females, we put them out here. They quite enjoy the natural sunlight.
Yeah.
But you know, including our platinums, very hard to get male and female of those. But at the moment we do have females though, so they're out here. So this is the entry to our store with our entry exit.
We got some
and
slushies.
Because it's summertime, we have slushies available to our staff and to our customers. It's a new addition to Aquarium Central. It is a hot place here, and we understand that, so we do try to bring a little bit of comfort with a nice, cool, refreshing drink. But this is our entry point here, and this is where all dreams come true. This is where we try to inspire our customers. So it is in the process of setup. We are not complete in here. We're not complete by far. We've completed the front two tanks, so we've got our African cichlid display, our electric blue Yabby up the front here on display in there with our African cichlids. And then on our left here we have our planted tank, which took a bit of a dive bomb for us just recently, unfortunately. Trialling a product in there sort of wiped out some of our plants, but it's recovering very well with the CO2 in there. This
is so cool. Come and have a look at this. What is it?
Electric blue Yabby.
A Yabby.
Yeah, so that's nowhere near as blue. It's going to get really, really blue as it molts over and over again, but it's quite nice blue now.
That is very cool. I've never seen a Yabby in an African cichlid tank before.
It is a bit of a taboo. The Yabby can of course grab an African cichlid at night time, but it is normally an African cichlid, if there was a problem with that fish, is what it's going to go for. Otherwise they do okay. It can go both ways. The Africans can eat the claws off them, but the Yabby, great thing about it, it can just grow a new claw. A couple of things in this African display you don't see in Africans, but they do. They're very versatile. The Yoyo loach, the clown loaches, even though they are not from Lake Malawi, they can handle quite a vast variety of pH and water conditions, and they're just great little scavengers in here, and it just brings that little bit of different character to the tank.
Yeah, that's got to be some of the biggest yo-yo loaches I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Yo-yos are very, very challenging to get to that size. They are a small species of the loach, the yo-yo or the Paki loach.
There's a really beautiful African cichlid in here.
Yeah, so that's your red OB peacock. So the OB peacock, as it matures, the black marbling pattern that you see on the side of them, as you can see, turns a metallic blue. And this is your red OB, so it's iridescent red, really highlighting this tank. And everything's really, really bright in this tank because of the food that we feed, because the African cichlids, particularly these haps or these peacock species, you set a tank up like this, if you feed it just natural foods, you'll have one awesome male in the tank, or maybe two, protecting their areas, and every other male in the tank will drop its colour and say, you can be the boss, leave me alone, and I'll put down my dress code and look like a girl. And
then if we go through here, this is towards where all the fish and everything are?
Yeah, so you walk into our, first thing you'll come in is all your decorations. So you've got all your gravels, you've got all your ornaments, so you've got a very big variety of ornaments. And down the left here we have our naturals. So you have your natural wood, your natural gravels, whereas on this side we might have some unnatural coloured gravels. So we've got everything. If you're into natural, nanoscaping, or your woods, we've got all the types of real wood here. We even have resin rock, okay? So we've got resin rock, and we've got resin logs and resin wood. So that brings that light, a big display piece being quite light in your aquarium.
That's very cool. That looks like holy rock.
It probably works out a lot cheaper to buy your resin than your natural rock when it comes to weight.
Holy rock is very, very expensive.
So you've got all your canister filters, internal filters, hang-on filters, heaters, lighting, everything available in this aisle. So as we're working towards the excitement, you're sort of walking through what else is on offer in our store.
And
so
this is the non-aircon area. That's why I've got.
yeah, this is the belly of the whale. So she is warm in the middle here. So down in our corner here, past our goldfish, so we've got all. Yeah, that's our FX6.
Yes, look what we've got here.
So
So we're actually doing a giveaway of an FX6.
Yes.
So unfortunately, it's only for people in Australia.
Yes.
We couldn't get it organised for in the US as well. But if you're in Australia, you can enter the competition, and it's going to be drawn in 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks on December 22nd during our live fish unboxing in store here. We will be announcing the winner. So watch that one to see if you've won.
We'll just put it in the description as well, all the different ways that you can get an extra entry to win this. And so that's what I've got on my African cichlid tank. I've got 2 of these. Really, really good filter.
What is it that attracts you about the FX6?
I don't know. I think that because it's a very big canister filter, which is handy for like a really big bio load and African cichlids, because you've got to overstock the tank so much. You need something that can manage it.
So it's got and it's got extremely high flow, 3,500. I don't think there's a canister filter on the market with that higher flow. The Fluval seem to have that market to themselves. At 3,500 is extremely good flow. It has a really cool feature of this guy as well. It turns itself off every 24 hours to release those air bubbles inside. It does that automatically all for you and purges the system for any air bubbles trapped inside. So that's one of the really cool features of the FX6, and that's why Fluval is very popular.
Check it out and enter in the competition. You might be able to have one.
Yeah, one could be yours just in time for Christmas.
Let's have a look at the Axolotls. So, do you do it every week where you do the live unboxing?
Yeah, every Friday we do a live unboxing. We get fish here every day of the week, but we pick one day a week to do our live unboxing, and that is Friday. So we do try to find some goodies around on Fridays that we can show our public. And we didn't get any Axolotls in today, but we do have some here in stock at the moment. Got your gold, blacks, whites. I even got an olive in there, which is your natural coloration.
Yeah,
and we might do a live food demonstration on these guys later on. Just show you how they go on the Aquamunch.
Can we do that now?
We can do that, absolutely.
Yeah. We're making worms.
We're going to make worms, yes. Okay. So one of the unique things about Aquamunch Aquagel, when you're feeding things like axolotls, we can actually make worms. Okay. So we're going to make our own worms.
So I wash my hands so I can put my hands in the axolotl tank.
Oh, you're going to hand feed them. Okay.
Is that how we do
we'll
it?
Give you some tongs that you can hand feed.
I'm assuming that's how we do it.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make some Aquamunch Aquagel axolotl food. But what we're going to do is we're going to do it a little bit different. We're going to show you how we make worms. So we make worms out of our axolotl gel here for our axolotls because they like that worm shape, that little bit of a wriggle in the gel. Looks like a worm and they really go for it. So what I've got here already is a pre-measured amount of aquagel powder, and then we're just going to use this little cup here to mix in some hot water. So we've just boiled our kettle. It is freshly boiled, and that is extremely important if you want to set your gel. It does need to be above 75 degrees when mixing in order to create a gel. So what we do is we've got our basically a 1:4 ratio there. We've got our hot water and our powder. We're adding our powder to the gel. That makes it a lot easier for mixing, and we're just going to stir it in. And we might just add a tiny little bit more powder just to give it a little bit more.
And so you always add powder to water.
Always add powder to water. It works so much easier. If you're adding water to your powder, what happens is that water hitting the powder cools instantly, and you get lumps and clumps, and it doesn't mix properly. And using such a small amount, you do have to work quickly because the smaller the liquid, the quicker it cools. Because once this drops below 70 degrees, it starts to set. Now, can I ask you just to hold that just off the bottom inside there? Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to suck some up. All right, and you will see it go up the straw. There we go. Sucking it up, sucking it up, sucking it up.
Oh,
we've hit the bottom. Okay, there it is. So we filled up. This is just using a little bit of tubing. You can use airline to make a thinner worm, and we've just put it on a syringe. And what we're going to do, because we want to do it quickly, is we're going to dunk this in some cold water, just like this, to quickly cool down that gel to drop it down below 70. Already this gel's going to be set, but we'll just give it a little bit longer to set nicely. While it's setting, I'm going to pull off my airline. I'm just going to fill my syringe now nice and full of air, ready to pump it out.
Ah, I see.
All right, I reckon that's set. So we push the airline back on. I'm just going to clean the little bit of gel off the cap here. We'll put that aside here. We won't waste that. That's going to be someone's treat. And here for the fun part, and we'll see if we can make a bit of a mess. There's our worm. You see that coming out?
That's so cool.
There's our worm. All right. So this is what we're going to feed now to our axolotls. So if we pick that up, it's all preset.
It's a big worm.
There's our worm.
Oh my gosh, it looks like a gummy.
So these guys go really well on Oscars. Oscars love worms, of course, as well. But yeah, axolotls. So the axolotl's not going to eat this guy on its own. But this is our artificially made worm using the aqua gel, and it's got all the really cool stuff in it. It does have worms in it. So let's feed it. Would you like to feed it, Katie?
Yeah, I'd love to.
So we're going to give you a piece here to break off, and you can just use the tongs there.
The tongs, all right.
And we'll come around. Squeezing it a little bit hard there. A little bit more. You can use your hand if you like. We'll see how we go with the one eating out of your hand.
Okay.
Now we've got a little gold guy around the front here.
This one here?
Yep. Go right down into the front of his nose. Bring it a bit closer so you can touch it. They sort of like that movement. There he goes. And he's grabbing it out of your hand and chomping down.
That's really cool.
Right. And that little bit underneath there, he'll eat that, so it doesn't really matter. He'll grab that.
Oh, the pink one.
It is stable in the water for 12 hours, so it will walk around and grab any leftovers. We'll give you another bit for that one over the side. That other gold one there, looking peeping to you there under the log.
This is so cool.
And look at that white one next to the gold. He's ready to go, actually.
Yeah.
This one's just come out of our hospital tank, so he'd be a good time to get him on some food. There he goes.
They love it.
So feeding out of your hand, he's grabbed that worm and off he goes. He's going to chomp that down. And if you'll have a look around here, this wild guy here, he's now showing interest. He can smell you're doing something in the water.
They're so cute.
All right, so we do have a little worm here left. Do we want to go try and see if the Oscar eats this fella?
Oh yeah, the Oscar.
Oscar's also very finicky eaters, and we've just had a surrender to the store here. Good 30 centimetre size Oscar. He has never tried Aquamunch gel before. Let's go see if he likes this one.
Did you just say that Oscars are finicky eaters?
They are finicky eaters of changing. They are finicky at everything.
If
you change their decorations, you change their rocks, you change anything, they sulk. Now this guy's just come to store today, so he'll be sulking, but let's see if he eats. But firstly, I'm not going to leave this hot jug of water here, so let me just deal with this one and we will go feed.
Good thinking.
Now, is he still here?
Yeah, there he is.
There he is. Let's see if this guy would like to eat that out of your hand. Be warned, if he is hungry, you may also get wet.
Yes. All right. Oh, he's sulking already. He's like, get away from me.
Maybe we drop it down and we'll see what happens.
Here you go. Yeah, he's sad. This is what Oscars are like. Like, they do this anytime that you change their water and stuff, or you move a decoration and they don't like it, they'll just sulk. Yeah,
so this guy's just been surrendered for us today to find a new home, and you can see he's sulking in the corner, but that gel will stay in there. It'll be there 24 hours. There'll still be a worm. You'll find once we leave and we're not around or we're not crowding him, he will gobble that up. Our little guys over here, as you can see, these guys would pull that worm straight out of your hand.
They're such great fish, Oscars. You get them little like this, but they do, ow, actually hurt. They grow so big though, so you need to have like a pretty big tank for them.
You do.
Yeah.
So you got to feed them very regularly. We feed these 3 to 4 times every day, and you can see they're always hungry. Here at Aquarium Central, you walk into the fish room. Outside of the fish room is all our cold water species, but this is our tropical room, and it is quite warm in here as well. We do have an aircon, but it is still warm. It's a tropical environment. And here we have our betta wall, and this is where we keep all our bettas on display for our customers. They're in these tanks for a very short little time, and then they're off there to their forever home. So we did receive quite a shipment of bettas yesterday. We do carry a lot of fancy bettas here. As you can see here, we've got blue marbles and blue rims. We did get a black galaxy. Here he is over here. Never had one of these ones before. And he's hiding shy up the back there.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
He's jet black member with little spots all over him of the galaxy, and you can see why they call it a black galaxy. And we do keep some of those nano species here that you can keep with shrimp. Little rocket fish. These guys are really cool. If you look very closely, they've got the tail of a rocket ship coming out the back with the flame shooting out the back.
Yeah, I see that. That's cool.
This is Kaity's world with all our cichlids. So this wall here is all our African cichlids.
They know you. They recognise you.
Yeah, they know it's time for feed. So we feed exclusively all the Aquamunch products here, and you can see the colours in the fish. Absolutely pop and shine. We have a time that we've just done on these guys. These came in a week ago with absolutely zero colour, and we've just done a time trial video on those to show what the gel does over 7 days. So we'll release that out on the market to show people.
And you've got the flake food that does the same thing, right?
Yeah. So if you don't like making the gel and you think it's not for you, the convenient of flake is available, and it's basically the gel rolled out flat and dried up through our ovens and makes flakes.
So can we feed some of these guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do
of course
we feed
we can.
Them?
Yep.
Yeah?
All right.
That food's already made, so we don't have to go make that food.
Yeah.
It's already out there. What's up with that?
And at home, of course, you could make this and store it in your fridge for 2 weeks, not a problem. So you make enough for 2 weeks and you just pop it all out and store it in a container in the fridge. You don't have to make this every day. You can make 2 weeks in a time.
And so how many fish can one little cube feed?
That's roughly a bit like asking how long's a piece of string, so every fish is different, but a fish's eyeball is about the size of its stomach, so you don't need to give them excessively too much.
Okay.
There is no fillers in this product, so there's no grain at all. It is all just pure and natural ingredients, so we're not filling the fish up with bulk fillers. We're giving them straight up nutrition. So that's the benefit of this. Not being cooked, of course. We've got full nutritional value. We're not losing any of that nutrition in that cooking process, that baking process. And there we go, let's go feed that to the Africans. And let's give them some food.
Just 2 in each tank?
2 in each tank.
Okay.
These are the new Solo that went on our social there a couple of days ago, and you can see the difference. So the Solos here with no colour, they're the ones that come in yesterday. See the one up the back, those couple there?
Yeah.
Those are the ones that have been in our tank on the food, and you can see the difference it makes. Like this is the same fish, but you wouldn't think so.
Yeah, they're already really colourful.
They're all getting really. So you come back next week, all these fish will be bright and colourful. So when you come back on the 22nd, when we're going to draw that FX6 filter, we'll have a look at this tank, and you'll see all these will be bright and colourful.
Look at this guy, he's just grabbed like the whole thing and it's in his mouth. Oh, one of them's trying to take it. And then I wanted to show as well, so see this guy here, so you can see these ones are a little bit stripy, these mirror ball cichlids.
Yep, the mirror balls.
So what's really handy that they've got here too is if you have a look, they've got what the adult fish looks like, so you can actually see what they turn into, because a lot of these like Malawi cichlids, they're not colourful when they're juveniles, but once they grow up they show a lot of colour, especially if you're colour feeding like what we are.
Yeah, the mirror ball is what they call a 2-year wait.
Yes.
So there's one of those fish that takes 2 years for those mirrors to start to show, and once they show, it's an absolute spectacular fish.
And so I had one of these guys and it was just about to be 2 years old and it was getting its mirror ball spots and it died. So I just got there and then it unfortunately passed away. But yeah, some of these ones are very slow growers, so they take a while to get there. I think, are they the varieties as well?
Yeah, so they're what they call the white knight, but in Australia here we don't actually have true white knights. They're actually ice blues. So the white knight is the white prairie with a red anal fin. We don't have that version, so we tend to call these white knights, but they're ice blues. They're a light powder blue rather than your deep blue, which is in your normal electric blue.
These ones that I've got, these are called haps, like the red fin cadengos and the frayeries and stuff. They grow very quickly, so not like the mirror ball cichlid that takes a really long time to grow and colour up. Those ones grow fast. And so these guys are a different type of like Malawi cichlid. These are the peacock ones.
This is what mainly in that front display tank. And you can see all the variation of colours with your fire reds, your yellows, your albino fire reds. The OB, so the OB is bred here in Australia. It's not allowed to be imported because it's a man-made species.
I didn't know that.
This is the lithorbate. So they're both sulphur crest. So this is what they call the sulphur crested lithorbate, which is the same family as electric blue. It looks very much like electric blue, but a very orange top. And these have been, unfortunately, a lot of our electric blues in Australia have been crossbred with this guy.
Right.
And that's why we see some of our electric blues with that spots on the side and a little bit of orange in the top, which we shouldn't see. More Mabuna, and look at these guys.
These are one of my favourite ones.
The red Travausi.
They're very cute.
The Chalumba. These are all males. And again, on that gel, they just go intense red as opposed to orange.
And so you guys will notice that these ones have like a little trunk mouth, and so they use that in the wild to grab on to rocks because they hang around like where the current is quite strong, and it just helps them to get a bit of a grip. They're very, very cute. I've got one of those in my tank.
when you're buying African cichlids, what's it's important to keep in mind all the time is pH. These guys they're one of the easiest fish to look after as long as your pH is high. So the easiest way to do that is to ensure that you use really good substrate, and what we use here is a calcium carbonate substrate, which is a crushed lime, or you can use aragonite, which is a crushed coral, which naturally raises the pH all the time. If we keep that pH high, they're pretty much a problematic fish. You can also, if you don't want that gravel, we would suggest that gravel, and you want to use something different, you can put inside your canister filter some crushed up coral as well, and that will also help raise that pH. So pH is what's important, but if you really want to get that colour, you do need to feed the colour foods, because with the African cichlid, you'll have 1 or 2 dominant males at any time putting on that display, and they're going to be the bright colourful ones. But if you colour food, they'll all colour up, and that aggression just disappears because everyone becomes the boss. So in behind you here, Katie, hey, we have all our Tanganyikan cichlids, which I believe you are recently into.
Yes.
Your Tanganyikan. So there is quite a lot of Tanganyikans here hiding amongst all these rocks. We have,
but they're not all Tanganyikan ones.
Most of them are, but not all of them. We do have some Mirables, not Mirables, your white-lip Madoka, so same family as your Mirables here. There is a couple of Victorians as well in here, so they're not all Tanganyikan, but it's 90% of these are Tanganyikans. We had to put these guys, we just ran out of space on our other wall, so they are over here temporarily until a door opens up next door, and they'll move over into the African or the Lake Malawi rack behind us.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're all, that's your SP35, or it's also called your tomato hat. So it's just like very similar to your flameback.
Can we feed these ones?
Yeah, put a block in there and see what happens. And it's gone.
Look at them go. They're beautiful. I was thinking I need a Lake Victorian tank at some point so I can complete the trio.
And you've got your albino princess cichlid in there, or your albino prashadi.
Oh, very nice.
And of course, out to say hello is a black calvus.
I was just looking at that guy. He's nice and big too.
And your tropheus, and again, feeding tropheus, they say you've got to be cautious of their diet, which is true, but we don't have any grain in this product at all. Being grain free, we're confident to say you can feed it to tropheus. And you can see the colours it's been bringing out in these guys. Look at that red coming out.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And this is that other one you saw at the auction that they were selling off the auction you talked about. That's your Orandas there.
Yeah.
The spangled cichlid.
Yeah.
And they've been digging around these rocks in here, and there's something you don't really see often in the aquarium shop. Very different with that pearly lines down the side.
I like colourful cichlids.
And your 6-bar gold cichlid, so yeah, I think you have it home.
Where'd that go?
Down the back. That's okay. We'll get some up the front here. So you've got at home in your tank, I believe, some Trets, the poor man's fronties.
Yes.
So this guy here is the Sex Fasciatus, which is the gold 6-bar. Oh. So same family, but instead of turning blue, turns yellow. Back in the early days, they were cheaper than frontoses, so they were called poor man's fronties. But now they're more expensive than frontoses, so it doesn't quite make sense. A bit like those poor man's glass catfish we had. They're more expensive than the original cat.
We'll have to show you. Can we get a shot of the ones across the top? I know it's a bit high. We can start even down there just to quickly show you guys how many there are. So we've got a bunch of more like Lake Malawi ones here, like the blue dolphin, also a slow grower. This one grows very fast, but very big.
Or the giraffe cichlid. You can see where it gets that name with that pattern.
Spotty guys. Then we've got some more peacocks, Eureka Red, beautiful type of peacock. These guys are all nice and colourful for how small they are too, so that's thanks to the colour food. And then we've got some different, with the peacocks, like they all look very similar in terms of their body, but there's lots of different colours.
Yeah.
Whereas with the haps, you'll find that like you get lots of different kind of shapes. And then we've got
that's your standard flamebacks, so your Victorian.
Oh, so these are Victorian ones here.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Afro.
Yeah, the Afro Kobu or the Cobway, and there's both the albino version and the normal version in there. And the red top hongy.
I've got one of them. Yep. Nice and Buna.
One of my favourites, that's that lithorbate.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. And then, that's what I've got. I've got one called Bart, a Fuel Bornei.
Yeah, full of Bornei. So very similar to Travasi.
Yes.
Slightly, not as vibrant in colour, and you can see there's only one left in there, and that's the full Bornei. Yeah. Not easy to find anymore. They were very common once upon a time. No. But like every African, we've lost a lot of Africans here in Australia due to lack of popularity of people chasing the latest trend or the latest money idea. They move on to the next fish, and the old fish disappears, and then we can't get them because we can't import these guys. They're all bred here locally. Then we just start to move on to some of our Americans, and that is a red-based snork. And we do have here in our tank is our monos. So we have them here because they go really well with African cichlids. And they're a surface swimmer. So a lot of your Africans hanging around the bottom and around the base of your tank. You want to bring some life and different character to the top of the tank, you can put some monos in there. So these, we've got some larger, these are just a red peacock. Some people call them Reuben red peacocks. They're not true Reuben red. The true Reuben red come out of Germany. But these are red peacocks. They're Asian bred, blue face, bright red coloration.
Yeah, nice.
And then just an assorted, so a lot of these are surrendered peacocks or mabunas that have come in, and then we colour them up, condition them back up and put them back up for sale.
Yeah, I was watching, I think it was MD Tank's video with Matt, and they were talking about like why you get them so tiny, and they were saying that African cichlids, it's more about, because it's so expensive to ship like a container of fish, right? So like it's better to just buy them small, get them all in, let people grow them out, but if, you know, otherwise they could get them in, you know, bigger. But
yeah, they don't transport well in a bag. When you're this size, they've got to be individually bagged. When they're smaller, we can fit 5 or more in a bag, but when they're this size, they've got to be individually bagged for freight, and they otherwise they just rip each other apart. Because of that, the freight charge is really through the roof, and they're really expensive. So the smaller ones are the most common, and of course the consumer, they actually love to watch them grow. They love their babies, they buy their babies, and they want to see it grow, they want to see it mature.
And so you guys sell a lot of fish online as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, someone was asking me, they wanted to know, I think they're in the Northern Territory and they got a permit to ship some interstate in. And they were like, how do we know where to buy them from, and what's the process like when you do ship fish in, you know, interstate?
Yeah, so if you're in Northern Territory, if you're in Tasmania, those prohibited states that you're not allowed to send to, we do send to those states every week. What we actually need a copy from you is a copy of your permit. You just need to email it through to us. On that permit it has a list of species that you're allowed to have. Then you just check out on our website. We'll tell you how to do that because we currently have it blocked. You can't unless you've got a permit. So sorry about that. You do that and then off they go with the permit on the box.
Nice. We just had a little break because it's very hot. We've got more of the slushy
a few drinks
as well. Yes, non-alcoholic drinks. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to have a look at some of the goldfish as well, because I think that lots of people love goldfish, and I think if you like African cichlids, you might like goldfish as well, because they're kind of similar in that you keep them in a simple kind of aquarium, and they're also very like bright coloured fish, and the fish is like the primary thing, which I think is like what people who keep African cichlids like. And so you guys also have a very nice range of goldfish here as well. So we're going to give them some of the aqua gel.
We're going to give them some of the gel. So you're right about goldfish. They are very popular. In fact, they are the #1 selling fish is goldfish. So they are very popular. There is a big variety of colours, big variety of patterns. You get some really unique characters like this pearl scale here, which they call a ping pong or a golf ball, and that's a special guy. It's a crowned pearl scale. You see the cap or the bubble on top of its head there.
Wow.
So they're ones we don't see all the time, but they're quite unique and different.
I did learn a little bit about goldfish at the Sydney Pet Show. And I know that these ones are called ranchus.
That's correct. So it's the ranchu. It has no top fin. And what we look for in the ranchu is actually the bigger the deformity, the better. So these guys have a very bent, curved spine. And you have a look at this guy here. This is what we're looking for, that really bent, curved spine, as opposed to this guy over here that has quite a straight spine. So what we're trying to find is the more curved is the better. We look for better or more deformed, because this is not a natural occurring species. This has been modified by us, bred to be this kind of species. So remove that top fin, get that curvature in the spine.
That's actually a good point that you mentioned. So that's why goldfish are a little bit of a controversial topic for some people, because they are what you would call deformed, some of them. So they've been selectively bred to look a certain way.
That's correct.
And, you know, for some of them that can cause them some issues as well. So, you know, there's some people that prefer the ones that are more natural looking, opposed to some of the ones that have these genetic, you know, modifications, or have been bred in a certain way to have really big eyes, or you know, the curved spine and stuff. Because any fish I find that has been selectively bred like that too, they become a little bit more sensitive, right?
That's correct. They struggle really with controlling their body fluids. So it is really, really important to keep salt in your aquarium. With any of these fancy goldfish, salt levels, they actually prefer salt at 5 grams per litre. Now it sounds like a lot of salt, but saltwater aquariums at 36 grams per litre, 5 grams per litre is not even brackish, and that's what these guys, fancy guys, all prefer. But let's give some of these larger guys a go. These guys are little bulldogs. You put in the food and let's just watch them knock that into the corner, and then they're just going to bell up on that.
I heard someone make a good comparison. It's kind of like with dog breeds, like pugs, for example. You know, they've got a very short snout. They can't really breathe very well. So you kind of have to weigh that up.
And this is one of our new species of Oranda. We've got a lot of our customers asking about these online at the moment. And this is Tiger Oranda. It's one we haven't had before. It's that orange pattern with that black sort of stripe and spotty. So a lot of our customers have been asking us for a video. So if they're watching your video, there's our Tiger Orandas.
There you go. Are these normal goldfish?
Yeah, so these are your
here we go.
comets.
So we can show you what they look like when they're not selectively bred.
Yeah, so this is your original goldfish here. It's your comet. So we have here our red comets. And then we get them in all different sizes. Really good for the ponds because they're fast. The birds don't tend to get to them so easily. So your fancy goldfish don't do well in ponds. They're indoor aquarium fish, but your gold comets do really well. So we've got your red. Down here we have your white. So this is a pure white comet. And then we have our gold comets. This guy's over here, which is, it's yellow. Almost looks like a cichlid, almost like an electric yellow. And red and whites. Red and whites are always very popular in the pond, because the red and white has that contrasting pattern in the pond. Let's see if these guys like their gel as well.
These guys look almost like koi.
Yeah, that's correct. So sort of poor man's version of koi here in Queensland is your red and white. So it is like a red and white koi. That's why they're popular in the ponds here in Queensland, because we can't have our koi here. And there we go. They've just smelt that gel. So they're a little bit not as smart as some of the other fish, the goldfish, although they do reckon they're quite intelligent. It took a little bit for them to smell and find it. As soon as they knew where it is, they were onto it, and they'll ball up on that as well.
Do these guys get quite big as well?
Yeah, over 30 centimetres in size. Wow. Over 30 centimetres in size. They get, I've seen them nearly 45 centimetres in size, your comets, so they can get quite big. Particularly your shubs, your shabungans down here, which is a tricolour comet. So it's got usually 3 colour pattern and a bit of blue in them. These guys here can get quite enormous. And they're a good one for the pond as well, because once they get bigger, that pattern on them does give that appearance of a koi.
So these guys that we were feeding before, in here. And so I was saying I would like to set something like that up inside, and then I was like, and I'd like to put some fancy goldfish, and then Nigel was like, oh, maybe that's not a great idea.
Not a great idea.
Fish, what they'll do with axolotls is they like to nibble on their little gills.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but what about guppies? But then we were also saying that no, they'll try to eat the guppies, but the guppies will nibble on their gills too. So these guys, I'm in Australia, in Queensland, so it gets pretty hot. So what you can either do is you can have like a fan, you were saying?
Yeah, so you can use a cooling fan. Of course, a chiller is a better idea, but a chiller is quite expensive, but they are preferred to keep that water quite cool. They do come from the snowy rivers of Mexico. However, we do have cooling fans, and just having a breeze blowing across the surface will help bring down that temperature of the water.
Should we show what the cooling fans look like? Because I've never seen them before.
Sure.
It'd be interesting to see. We're making you walk backwards.
Do we have them in stock? There they are. Okay, so here they are here. So this is a Dimax cooling fan. So it just clips on the side of your aquarium like that. It is adjustable, so you can adjust that flow. So this is a cheaper alternative. If you're larger the tank, you want to add a couple of these. These are 1.8 watts. So the cost on your pocket when it comes to energy is next to nothing. 1.8 watts. That's roughly around $3 a year, running 24/7.
Yeah.
Very cheap to run.
Yep. Unlike a chiller, which to buy them, they're like at least $600 Australian, I think.
We're up over $1,000 these days.
Yeah, up there, and then to run them, I'm guessing. I don't know anything about running electricity, but I'm guessing it's like
they're very high to run. Very expensive to run, but it is the best choice for axolotls. So if you're an axolotl keen fan, or if you live further north in Queensland in those really tropical environments, you do have to start thinking about an axolotl. But here we are in the bottom of Queensland, we can get away with alternatives of these cooling fans.
I wonder what would be cheaper, having a chiller or just having your air conditioner on?
Air conditioner for sure.
You reckon?
Absolutely.
What we'll just do, because we focus on the African cichlids mainly, we'll just show you there's a bunch of other fish in here that we'll just give you a brief little look at. So if you wanted to order online or you wanted to come in and have a look, they've got a range of South American cichlids in here as well.
Yeah, so we do a whole range of specialty tetras, specialty cories, and little dwarf cichlids like epistogrammas and rams. Of course, down this wall here we have our discus, a big variety of discus, rainbows, some of our large Americans and pieces like that that as well. That wall's forever changing. Here in our tetras, at any time we have a minimum of 50 to 80 varieties of tetras and rasboras in stock. And in these middle islands here is where we keep a lot of our unique oddballs. So like that freshwater pipefish I was talking about in our live unboxing, they're in here in these center tanks. So there's always something fun, something really cool for everyone here at Aquarium Central. We do carry the largest variety of fish in Australia, so we try to bring in as many cool and unique ones as possible, including the good old Australian natives with our rainbows down the bottom wall here.
Beautiful. And so now you know as well, if you see Aquarium Central online, you know where the fish come from and what they look like as well in stores.
Yeah, so we're open to the public, of course. The public are in here shopping. We're a large retail store, but of course you buy online. Everything you see here is available for online purchasing.
Oh, and then we've got this guy. We almost missed our Saratoga.
Yeah, so that's our Saratoga here. So they're in season right now. So this is still a juvenile fish. He's probably less than 2 years old. This guy here, it's still juvenile. But then we have the babies that have just come into season just last week. Is you're just born, straight out of the mouth, little baby Saratogas up there.
Oh, it's so cute.
They came in last week. They sold out in 24 hours. And we've just received a fresh shipment, and most of those are sold already.
Oh my gosh.
This is where all your food is and your medication and your water treatment. So as you leave the store, all those little add-up bits that you need, your foods, as you can see the Aquamunch range there, which is all new, and next year there'll be double that range will be available again. So all the pellets and stuff will be out next year.
Well, we'll wrap it up here. Is there anything that you wanted to mention before we finish it?
No.
No, sorry, put you on the spot. If you enjoyed the video,
thanks
make
for
sure
coming.
you give it a like. Oh yeah, thanks for having me, and for all of the people who are going to see this video, I'm sure they'll enjoy having a look around. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, comment down below what you think of the shop and any of your favourite fish, and you can make sure you subscribe as well and hit that little bell icon to get notified each time I upload a new video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.